Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Rene Alvarez, and I'll be your host for this ITM Platform training session. Remember that these trainings can grant you the ITM Platform certification if you accumulate 10 hours of training. The session will have a duration of approximately 45 minutes, after which we will have some minutes to cover all the questions you may have. Please enter your questions in the chat or through the Q&A. This is a user training session for team member users and all the users that will be part of a project's team. Our topics for today are these. We will speak about the team member role and how it integrates into project management processes. We will discover some topics around the user interface so you feel comfortable navigating through ITM Platform. We will describe the main pages, my home, my projects, my tasks, and my timesheet. We will also speak about conversations and communication inside ITM Platform. We will describe my profile and what you can do with it. And last, we will give you some recommendations around asking for help whenever something is not working as expected. Okay? All right, let's go ahead. First, let's speak about the team member role. In ITM Platform, when we speak about a team member, and in general, when in project management, we speak about a team member, that person belongs to a project team. This means that a project must exist, okay? And that many different people can be part of that project. Maybe it is a small project, maybe it's 2-3 people working on that small project. Maybe it is a very large project with tens or even hundreds of people, okay? So in either case, we are speaking about the project team. And again, please be mindful of this. The project must exist before we can call someone a team member, okay? Although from the tools perspective, we will speak about that later, a team member really is a configuration that happens inside the system, so you have access to ITM Platform. Now, this person, this team member, executes assigned tasks, okay? In other words, this person assigned to a task will be responsible for executing and achieving the goal for that specific task, okay? But who is responsible for creating that assignment? That assignment is done by the project manager, not by the team member, at least in most of methodologies, okay? There are some cases where a team member might pick a team's assignment, okay? That does not happen in ITM Platform. In ITM Platform, we empower both team members and project managers to control their projects. And part of that means that it is the project manager who creates the assignment, who assigns a team member to a specific task. Then it's up to the team member to get that assignment and then execute the task. Now, the actual execution of a task happens outside our system, okay? However, the team member is also responsible for reporting progress on that task, okay? Now, we will get deeper into this concept of reporting progress in a few minutes, but be mindful of that. The execution of the task is outside ITM Platform. Maybe you need to create a document. Maybe you need to create a code. Maybe you need to draw a picture or a schematic, or maybe you need to command a provider to do something. That is really up to the project itself. But inside the system, it is important that the team member reports on progress for that task. Okay. And there is another aspect that sometimes is not super important for all organizations. However, in our experience, we know that this is really, really key to increase chances of success. That is communication. Okay. And communication can happen inside ITM platform or outside ITM platform. It's gonna depend really. And we know that probably your organization already has a platform that is aimed to be your main communication tool. Maybe it's through email, maybe it's through a chat system, maybe it's something like Microsoft Teams or something of the like. Okay. However, I'm going to show you that inside ITM platform, we have a feature, a very interesting feature to enhance communications specialized in project management. Okay, so that is what usually the team member will do inside ITM platform. Okay, all right, so that is for the main concepts. Now let's go to our next topic, the user interface. So before we describe what you can really do inside ITM platform, let's describe the user interface so you feel comfortable working with it. Okay, so for that, I'm going to open my demo environment and I'm going to use the team member role for this training. Okay, let's go here. This is the user interface. All right. To the left, we have a menu. Okay. This menu is simplified to fit the specific user permissions. If you're a team member, chances are that you will get access to my desktop only. So this is the only tab present in the menu. All right. Now, the menu is collapsible. Sometimes you need to increase the size to work on something on screen. And you can do that by hiding or temporarily hiding the left-hand side menu. If you click on the hamburger icon to the left of ITM Platform's icon, you will hide entirely the menu. Although if you need it back, simply click on that icon again. Okay. All right. In the middle of the screen, we have the data area. Okay. This data area will display tasks, will display the timesheet, will display a lot of different things. Okay. I'm going to describe in a few moments what this page is about. Okay. To the right, you can have the conversation area. Okay. We call this the chat. Okay. And the chat is also collapsible. You can also hide it if you don't need it for the time being, and later you can turn it on whenever you need to see it. All right. To close it or to temporarily close it, you can click on that X at the top and it goes away. If you need it back, simply click in the top link bar. You have the chat option and that brings it back to your screen. All right. Okay. Speaking about the top link bar, we also have a help menu. We will refer to this later. And there is one other choice in here, which is going to be very important for us. It is my personal menu, which gives me access to my profile. Okay, I will let you know what you can do inside my profile. So this is pretty much the basics of the UI. Simply click on the area that you're interested in from the menu and work on the data area. Okay, basically it is that. And remember that you can temporarily hide the left-hand side menu or the conversation area to the right if you need to do that. Okay. All right. So now let's jump in the home page. The home page basically contains the personal board. All right. The personal board is a place where you're going to see your current tasks. It is designed to simplify identifying tasks. Okay. And not just tasks, also their statuses. Okay. But it is also used to control task status if you have the permissions to do that. So let's dive into this so you can better understand what I'm trying to explain. First, this is the personal board. Okay. It is a Kanban board that will display your tasks organized, first of all, into three main columns: to do, in progress, and recently completed. All right. So these three basic states will let you know the current tasks and what you should be working next. Okay. Now there are different ways of controlling this board. The simplest way is just by taking a look at the swim lanes. In this Kanban board, we have automatic swim lanes by project. So for example, in here, this user participates in the winter promotion project, okay, but also in the software application development project. So tasks are split into those two swim lanes, and also he's working on publishing of manual and audiovisual project. Okay, so this personal board will get your tasks organized by status and by project. Now, speaking about projects, you can see also that there is a little icon to the left of the word project. This icon represents the methodology for that project, if that's relevant to you. Sometimes it is, okay? And if you familiarize yourselves with project management concepts, this will be even more easier. But in a nutshell, the blue icon represents a waterfall project, meaning that these projects will have a Gantt chart to control their planning, their task planning. While if you see an orange icon, this represents an agile project. And we don't use a Gantt chart in there. We use also a Kanban board. Okay. So what you get to see here is pretty much what the project manager will get access to with when accessing the full details. All right. So this is the first thing, that you get to know your personal board and you can identify the current tasks, the ones that are in progress or the ones that should get started right away, right? There is another thing that you can do with the personal board. You can click on the name of that task or any task. It is a card, and that card will expand to display more details about that particular task. For example, it's giving you the task name, a description, which is not reproducible in the board because this can contain a lot of text. It will tell you things like, for example, the type of task, the priority, if it's color coded, when it should get started, when it should end, okay, so on and so forth. Now, team members do not have full access to a project. Even if you are part of a project's team, you don't have full access to all details about a project. That is really up to the project manager, right? However, sometimes you really need to see more information about the project. Okay, so at the top right corner, you will find this link. Go to the complete record. If you click on that, and if you have permissions to see the project, you will get something like this. Okay, so as you can see, first of all, let me highlight that now the current area is my projects, not home anymore. Okay, so that is kind of important. Second, you are viewing a project. The project name is at the top. Okay, and the name for the task is after the project. And the specifics for the tasks that you can access as a team member are displayed below. So in here, I can see the general tab with dates, but I also get to see, for example, the team. What is the what are the rest of my teammates? Okay, who else is assigned to this task? So maybe I should coordinate with these people to have better chances of success. Okay. Well, there is one last aspect that sometimes the team members are involved into. I'm not going to dive with much more detail about this, but In ITM Platform, there is a way of uploading documents or creating a reference to a document. So if you are responsible for a document or you have created and uploaded a document in your document management system, you can reference it directly to this task by going to the Documents tab and then clicking on Add New Document. Then you can you can paste in here the URL for that particular document. Of course, you can use ITM Platform to simply upload the document, but chances are that your organization already has a document management solution in place. So we recommend that you use that. Okay. All right. Fantastic. So that's how you can access more details about a task. So let's go back to the home page. All right. There is one last thing that you can do about a task from the personal board. Okay. And that is changing the status. Okay. Let me try to explain. I don't remember if I have something like this. I think I don't have it from here, but no, sorry, my bad. Do you see this task, the activation of digital codes? Well, happens that well, this user is a task manager, okay? Please notice that when I hover over my mouse on this card, it changes the representation. Now it's 4 arrows, right? Pointed in 4 directions. This usually means that you can move this element, right? You can drag and drop. What happens if I do the same for this task? In this task, I cannot do that, okay? So let's go back here. What does that mean? It means that I can drag and drop and change the card for this task. So I can drop it on the to-do column, or I can drop it under the recently completed tasks, okay? This means that I'm actually changing or reporting the progress for that task. In this case, by simply changing the status, okay? For example, tasks in a waterfall project usually will require a percentage, okay? While a task in agile projects will be based on the status simply. Okay, so that's what you can do from the personal board. Now, let's move ahead and cover the rest. The following area is my projects. Okay, my projects, it is very simple to understand. I'm going to show you in a moment. It will give you a project list. Now, this list is not all your projects. It's only the projects um, for which you are part of that project's team. Okay, and you will be able to apply filters and select columns if you are looking for something specific or you need to get a specific value out of the list. Okay, so let's go ahead and show you that. Let's go back to the tool, and now I'm going to click on my projects. So what do I see in here? Once more, this is a list of projects, but that does not mean that this is the full list of projects in the system. It is only the list of projects for which I'm a team member. All right. Now, at the top of this screen, you have a list of filters. From here, you can slice and dice. For example, maybe I'm not interested in all projects. Maybe I'm looking for something specific. In this case, probably is meaningless because the list is very short, right? But if you participate, I don't know, in 20, 30 different projects, sometimes you even have more projects, you can use a filter area to minimize that list, to find exactly the item that you're looking for, all right? You can search by name, by priority, if you happen to know that priority, or by start date, by end date, or who is the manager. Okay. If you need more options to filter this list by, you can click on this search option, and it will display more filters. All right. If you don't want to use the filters, you can even minimize it, close it completely, so it uses more space for the more real estate for the table. All right. Okay, so what if you are interested in one of these projects? For example, this one, Market and Research for Phase 2 project. You can click on that. Remember, this is controlled by permissions, so you don't have necessary access to all the information. only about certain tasks, the tasks for which you are a team member, right? But you can click on general to get a general description on the project. You can click on team to see who else is working on this project with you. And again, the list of tasks and documents if there are documents related to this project. Okay. So basically, that is my projects list. Now, there is another area very, very similar. If your organization uses services as well, okay, you'll find the My Services option below My Projects, and it works exactly the same way, right? Services are very much like projects, okay, although they do not have the ability to create a full project plan, okay? You simply create activities on demand. So if you're part of a service, you will see it displayed below. Okay. And if you want to see more detail about that service, simply click on the name, just like we did in the project. Okay. So it will display information about that service. Again, very similar to projects. All right. Now, let's dive into the most important areas for a team member. First, my tasks. My tasks will have the same principles as my projects, okay? It is a list of your tasks, your assigned tasks. Now, with this, you can search for tasks. You can select certain columns. Sorry, I did not show you how to select columns from projects. I'm going to show you in a second how to select columns for tasks. It is the same. It works the same way. And if you are a team manager, a task manager, you can use this area also to report task progress. Let me show you that part. All right. Let's go to the tool. Now let's access my tasks. Okay, it is actually my tasks and activities. We're focusing on projects. Tasks are for projects, while activities are for services, but they are pretty much the same. Okay, they work in the same way. Now, this is the full list of elements, right? Organized into pages because sometimes a team member can have a lot of tasks assigned, right? So by default, you get the list in tens, right? 1 to 10, 11 to 20, so on and so forth. You can change it from here, and you can navigate also to those extra pages. All right. Now, how to search for tasks? Well, you can use this area to search for the name of the task or the activity, or the name of the project or service. Okay. Once more, you have other options as well. Maybe you are looking for tags, you don't remember the name, but you want to do it by date, right? Start or end date, or by team or by status. Okay. Now, below you have again the table, and the table will display certain specified columns. Okay, what happens if you would like to display an extra column that you don't see in here, but you know that the column is part of the system? Well, just at the top of this table, you have this button. Okay, if you hover over, it will display the available columns. Okay, there are certain columns that cannot be disabled, like, for example, the task manager icon, task activity name, and project service name. These are fixed. However, for the rest, you can choose extra columns. What else would you like to see? For example, in here, I can see the start date, but I don't see the end date. Maybe it's important for me to see the end date, right? So let's turn it on. I click on end and I click on apply, and the table will refresh. And now I have also the end date, okay? Now, these changes are not persistent, all right? When you click in here, you need to select them. Now, if you want these changes to stick, then this selection, you can set it as default, all right? So you can make the selection one time and click on default. This means that you want to see that distribution all the time, all right? So that's how you can display extra columns if you want to. Now, reporting task progress. I want you to notice that some of these tasks have a little icon to the left, okay? This icon represents the task manager, okay? while others do not have that icon. What does that mean? Okay, for those tasks which are blank on that column, this means that I'm simply a task member. Okay, a task member inside ITM Platform can only report on time. Okay, in other words, I cannot provide the project manager with a percentage of completion for that task, only the time that I have invested working on that task. Okay, while when I have this icon, this means that I'm the task manager. I have permissions to provide the project manager with the percentage. Okay, and for those cases, let me show you what you can do from this screen. Okay, let's click on one of these tasks, for example, this one. Okay, in addition to the basic tabs that I showed you before, general, team, and documents, now I see another one, progress. Okay, if I click on progress, it will display all the progress for this task, the changes in progress this task has suffered. And as you can see, currently this task is 95%, right? Again, if I'm the task manager, I can enter this percent completed value. The only thing that I need to do is click on this button, add progress report. Okay. Now I need to provide with the basic stuff, with the basic values, the assessment. How well are we executing this task? Are we good? We need to take a closer look because something might go wrong, or maybe my task has problems and the progress is critical. I need to enter a short description, okay? Exactly what it means, right? And the description goes below, but this one is optional. You can choose whether you want to provide with that detailed description. What is not optional is the short description. And then you can enter the percent completed. For example, maybe I would like to provide with a 98%, okay? And last, I need to enter the date. This 98 represents the completion as of when, all right? Usually, tasks, whenever you update them, they will need to create automatically a progress report, okay? Do not worry about this. This should be controlled by the project manager and or the system admin. If you have questions, whether you should keep this check mark on or off, please ask your project manager or system admin. All right? Let's click on save. Sorry, as you can see, I need to provide with all information. So let's enter here. Let's click on save. Let's use caution just for you to see the change. Let's see if it worked. Yep, as you can see, it is in here, right? So I can enter progress for that task. While I can do that in this task, I cannot do that for tasks for which I'm simply a team member, a task member. Like, for example, this one. If I click on that, there is no progress tab in here. All right. So that's the difference between the task manager and the task member. Now, let's move forward to the next area, my timesheet. My timesheet is where you're going to capture your time. All right. I'm going to describe in a few seconds the timesheet display. And I'm going to show you how to navigate the timesheet. Sometimes you need to go backwards or forward. I'm going to show you how to capture time and non-billable time and what is the difference between those two. Some display options and capture options that you might find useful. All right. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go to my timesheet. In my timesheet, you will see this screen. Actually, let me make it a little bit bigger so we can have a closer look. All right. Yep, I think this is a little bit better. First, in my timesheet, okay, the display by default is weeks, right? I'm going to show you how to navigate in a second. Below, you will see all the tasks for this current period of time organized by project. So the project can help you collapse collapsing or expanding the different rows so it's easier for you to find the task you're looking for. Okay? And as you can imagine, it's as complicated as simply clicking on the box and capturing your time, hours and minutes. Okay? Those are the basics. So it is really easy to capture your timesheet. Now, first, let's understand how to navigate, because sometimes you don't want to see this current week. Maybe you forgot to capture last week's time or something like that, or you would like to make a change, right? Well, with these two buttons, back and forward, you can go to the previous period, or to the next one. But also you can control if the display is going to be in weeks or something different. For example, let's choose custom, okay? And then if I click on this drop down, I can select any start and end date. For example, I can choose, let's go from here to here, right? And if I click on apply, now my timesheet will change and it will display the rest. Now, as you can see, I cannot see the full timesheet. I'm choosing a lot of time, a lot of days, right? When you have this problem, simply click on this last button, okay, to maximize the real estate that you use. This is where also hiding the left-hand side menu is very helpful, okay? Probably I'm choosing too much, but this is how to do it, okay? Again, usually we just focus on a specific week. So let's go back to that. All right. Okay. What else can we do in here? Of course, capturing the actual time. For capturing the actual time, I simply need to enter the number. But what happens with these grayed cells? This means that the task is already completed or did not have execution on those days. Okay, this is very frequent. For example, on Saturday and Sunday, if you ask the timesheet to display a period of time which includes Saturday and Sunday, then you will have definitely this behavior. Okay, and if you have questions around whether the task should be enabled or not enabled on certain days, ask your project manager about it. Okay. Now, also, you can click on this button at the top link bar to hide the non-working days. In ITM Platform, we have a calendar system, which tells ITM Platform is if there are non-working days other than Saturday and Sunday or whatever is your calendar setting, right? You might see a holiday, and sometimes you simply want to hide it. So a simple way of doing that is by clicking on this button. All right. Okay, if you would like to see another way of displaying tasks, you can click on these buttons. Okay, the task names sometimes are larger, so you can use this button to display it on several lines instead of one big huge line. Okay, you can also choose to hide completed items. Don't give me all my timesheet, just give me the tasks that are not completed. So it's easier for me to find what I'm looking for, okay? I can also collapse or expand everything, as you can see, right? I can start from here. Maybe I'm working on too many projects in this week. So I want to start with a collapsed view and then expand what I need to expand, okay? I can also choose to display the sums, the totals for accumulated values, the total period and the full total, and also the header. I can choose to show or display the header, which will give me this percentage. This represents the percentage of your actual time against your capacity. Okay. All right. Now, in terms of how to capture the time, one more time, I can simply click on the day that I'm interested in. For example, maybe in this day, I would like to capture 1 hour, right? Please notice that I also have this previously accumulated. So right away, I know that this task, I have worked on this task for 3.5 hours. Okay. So I would like to enter 1 extra hour. That would mean that I'm going to report 4 hours, 4.5 hours total, 1 extra hour on this Tuesday. Now, when you do that, this mark will identify any unsaved value. Okay, so if you don't want to lose your changes, click on save. The save is not automatic. Sometimes we make mistakes, right? That's why it's going to be saved only when you click save. All right. But what happens, of course, I can capture, for example, 1 hour for the rest of the week. But what if I don't want to do that because this is way too long, right? I don't want to capture one and one and one and one, right? There is another way in which you can capture these values. So let me reset it, okay, to 0, okay? And I'm going to use this little icon. This icon allows me to capture a value for the entire displayed period, okay? For example, 1 hour. And this will simplify me adding all that. Now, please notice that you are also capturing Saturday and Sunday, which probably it's not very good, right? But this time you can only reset those 2 days. This is easier than capturing it 5 times the same value. Okay. Let me show you. Let me show you another important aspect. Whenever you are capturing a value, okay, you can get these 2 extra buttons. The first one is to add a note, okay? Maybe I need to report something specific about this day, okay? For example, task restarted or something important around that date, okay? About that day. And as you can see, there is another little icon to the top right corner that shows me that entry contains a comment. Okay, usually that comment, that note is for me, right? There is another button, this button. That one can be hidden, can be displayed. This depends on the configuration that your system admin has applied and also the settings the project manager is controlling for that particular project. But if you see this icon, it means that you can capture billable time and non-billable time. Okay. If you click on that button, it displays this box. And as you can see, by default, any time that you capture is going to be billable. Therefore, it is used in cost calculations. However, if you want to capture non-billable time for that day, for that particular day, you can capture it below. For example, if I enter here 2.5 hours, okay, it means that for this day, I'm actually reporting 3.5, but only one of those hours should be accounted for when calculating costs. And if you have non-billable time, you will see this symbol displaying how much is non-billable. All right. Okay, fantastic. So let's click on save and move forward to the next topic. This is really the complex part around ITM Platform for team members, but we still have a couple of topics that we need to discuss. First, conversations and communication. Again, the communication probably will happen outside ITM Platform in general. For example, you are not going to communicate with your customer through ITM Platform. Or sometimes the stakeholders do not have access to ITM Platform because I don't know, for any given reason, right? But you can still use the ITM Platform system of communication, the messaging system, to create messages or to display messages. So let me describe them real quick, okay? Because they are very useful. So let's go back here and let's turn on our chat window. All right. First of all, if you would like to send a message, okay, you can you can share an update directly in here. Okay, so I can click on share and I'm creating actually a general message to the entire to the entire system. Okay. Now I can also send a direct message. If I click in there, now it will ask me who is going to be the recipient. For example, maybe I would like to communicate with my project manager, Travis. So I'm going to say, uh, okay. Now, this message is not specific to any project, okay? Because I'm sending a direct message which is not specific to any object in the system. I'm simply identifying the recipient, okay? So if I click on send, that will create that message sent to my project manager, whomever that person is, okay? What happens in the other side? The recipient will get a notification through the email, but the message is kept in this page. So I can navigate here, right, and see the different messages uh, that I need to review or reply to or anything. Okay, but also let me show you that there is something really, really interesting. I'm gonna click here, right? All per messages. This will display all messages. I can choose, maybe I would like to see only direct messages, the messages that someone else created for me, right? Or maybe public messages like the first one that I created, okay? Or I can display system notifications. Maybe there is something occurring in the system and I would like to keep an eye on that. But what I wanted to show you also is this contextual option. Please notice before that below I have a list of elements. These are projects. So maybe I'm not interested in all messages, maybe only in messages about this project. Okay. I can select that and see if there are comments around that project. So this is really useful to slice and dice. But what I wanted to show you is this contextual. What does that mean? This contextual option is going to change every time that you access another part of the system. For example, if I go to projects and then I access a specific project or a specific task or maybe a risk or something like that, this area will change and it will display the messages for that particular element. Okay. And as you can see, when that happens, I get this link, okay, for the task and project, and those links are clickable links. So if I click in there, I'm going to navigate directly to that task or maybe to that project. So it's easier for me to find the information, the specific information I'm looking for. All right. Okay. Before we complete all the topics for this session, let me show you one last thing real quick. Remember that I mentioned this menu with my name at the top? These will give you access to your profile. Of course, from here you can change your password if ITM Platform is controlling your passwords. If you have single sign-on enabled and configured, then you should change your password from the other system. Maybe it's Azure, Okta, or something like that. You need to go to that other system to change your password. But this will also get you access to your profile. Why is the profile important? Well, first of all, it will display certain things, right? Like your identification, but not just that. From here, you can choose what is the language in which you want to see ITM Platform, okay? You can change it from English to Spanish to Portuguese, which are our supported languages, okay? You can see communications. For example, out of the box, by default, you're going to receive all notifications. After you are using ITM Platform a little while, sometimes you don't want to be notified about just anything, right? And then you might be interested in disabling some of these. For example, maybe I don't want to receive an email message when someone comments on my message, or when someone comments on a message that I have commented on. Maybe I don't want to follow those trail of conversations, right? So you can disable them from here. There is also an alert system. For example, alert me certain amount of days before the task starts. And also, you can turn on if you would like to receive an alert before the task ends. So these can help you keeping a track on specific things inside ITM Platform, even if you are not working directly with ITM Platform. So you get an email telling you that you should continue working and reporting on progress. Okay. And last, from here, you have the control about your board. Okay. Remember my board? Well, from here, even if you cannot hide the areas, you can choose how many tasks you would like to see. For example, in the to-do column, maybe you don't want to see them all. Maybe just a short amount or a short list of tasks to do. And also from the completed column, I don't want to see them all forever. I know that I have worked a lot, but I don't want to see them there, right? So you can display them up to 2 days after the task has been finished. But after that, I don't want to see them anymore. All right. Also, you can complete information about your education if that is important for your system, for your system or for your organization. And the last is the API key. This is rarely used by team members. However, let me show you. Let me tell you why this might be helpful. Okay, the API key is a way to authenticate against ITM Platform when there are some automations happening in the system. For example, if you would like to build your reports, your Power BI reports out of your tasks or your timesheet, right? That's something that a team member can do, right? Or maybe you would like to, I don't know, to conduct an integration. Again, this is rarely done by a team member, but if you need to have an API key, this is where you can get it out from. Okay. All right. So that is basically what we wanted to cover today. However, I'm going to finish with one important thing. Whenever something goes wrong, and we know that ITM Platform is far from perfect, we need your help to make it better. So we ask you to submit an email, send us an email whenever something goes wrong, whenever something is not working as expected. Okay. When you need to ask for help, please send us an email to support@itmplatform.com. Now, within this email, we ask you to include the following if possible. First of all, the URL of your instance. Okay. The URL of your instance, let me show you where to get it. If you don't know, simply go to your browser and inside ITM Platform, just copy this URL at the top. Whatever is after the .com is really, really important because this tells us which environment you are using. Sometimes an issue is happening only in one environment, so that's important for us. Next, the applicable area where the issue happened. This happened in your projects list or in your timesheet, something like that. Okay. Please provide us, if possible, with a screenshot of the error or the message or the issue that you're seeing. This is super important for us, so it is easier to identify the issue. Next, if possible, please let us know about the browser that you are using and the version you are using. Sometimes the errors are related to browsers, so it is important for us to know that. Okay. Please include a description of the issue. What are you seeing? But more important than that, the sequence to reproduce the issue. Okay. I clicked here and there and I entered this value or this text, and then it gave me an error. Or I left it blank and I click here and it gave me an error. That is super important for us so we can reproduce it and then fix it. Last, please tell us if you can wait to get the answer or the solution, or if for some reason that issue is preventing you from using ITM Platform. You cannot work anymore and you need to fix right away so we can better prioritize our tickets. Okay. All right, so that's all I have for today. Let me check if we have questions while I read your questions. I would like to ask for your help getting 5 stars for ITM Platform in Capterra. So if you can go to that link on screen, it will be super helpful if you can help us reaching 5 stars. It will help us improving our services and products. Okay, let me check. Well, it looks like we don't have questions for today. So I just I just want to thank you for the time that you have dedicated to this training session, and I hope to see you in our next training for ITM platform training. Thank you very much and have an excellent day.